I don't think I have depression, but I think that sadness can result from certain incompetence that people have. Like for me, when I just didn't do work, it kind of led me to spiral down into a pit where I felt sad. But for me, I think that the reason that I had those symptoms that may have appeared as depression was because of the ADHD. Usually when the semester starts with school and everything, I'm completely fine. But as the weeks go on and I start falling back into my habits of not doing work, it can lead me to feel sad because I'm not performing to where I think I should be performing. And it's very difficult for me to actually get the work done. So I get distracted often. Like it's just, if I try to focus on something, something else pops into my mind and I'll direct all my attention towards that. It's often just very difficult for me to kind of keep tabs on what things I have to actually do. You know, I actually didn't think it was anything until I got diagnosed a couple weeks ago.
I have like anxiety because like I have like I was diagnosed with like complex PTSD. So like anxiety and depression kind of like comes along with it. I didn't get diagnosed until I came here to UF. That was probably like 2 years ago. I never knew what it was. Like I just always knew like I was a very like nervous person and I was constantly like scared. It's dread because there's no other way to describe it. I would literally just be laying in my bed, didn't want to get up, didn't want to like I couldn't get up. I would just lay in bed and think about all the things I had to do. And I would lay there the entire fucking day. And of course that like, you know, kind of like domino affected like me not going to class. I was a transfer student, so I transferred over here, and then my first time like leaving home, it triggered me, but I didn't even know that I was being like triggered or whatever. It was very weird. That's how PTSD works, whatever. I used to go to like anger management, all that kind of stuff. No one asked me like, why do I even have anger issues in the first place? That's also like a major thing with, you know, people who have like complex PTSD. My mom calls me like a firecracker. People will just be like, oh, like you're just being dramatic. I can't help it. And then I didn't even know about like the whole ADHD like D thing. I see a therapist one day, like I was just telling her I can never like focus on anything. She recommended that I get tested for it. And like when you get tested, they test your IQ, they test your personality. They literally handed me like a manila like envelope and was just like, this is you, like this is who you are. I'll get lost in something that really like I should not have even like been in, like, but I'll get lost in like researching how to become a puppeteer. I went to like just like my regular doctor here just for like a checkup or something. He like saw like that I was like diagnosed. Before it was obviously just like anxiety, depression, or whatever. When he saw the ADHD, he was like, oh, you know what we call that here? A D, like all the above. And I was like, I guess so.
I was assaulted when I was in freshman year, and I did the thing you're like supposed to do, and I reported it, and the first thing they said to me was not like, what's his name, like what happened, it was, were you drinking? And then the second thing she asked was, what was I wearing? The little things are the ass things, like not being able to get out of bed in the morning, or like not finding the motivation to be able to like feed yourself because you don't feel like you deserve food. But when you go in and talk to them, they're like, you're not bulimic, you're not anorexic, like, I can't help you because you don't have enough of an issue to have an issue. That makes or breaks, like, your mood for the rest of the week. I've done 5 medical withdrawals for various aspects of, like, my mental health. Mostly the depression, anxiety, PTSD is a big one. It has impacted, like, every aspect of my life. You can't escape your brain. Sometimes when you're like around the people that you love, you feel vacant. If you don't see it, it doesn't seem like it's really an illness.
It ends up being like a self-conscious thing, because like you're like hyper-fixating on everything. Like they're watching you. Be careful, don't mess up, don't be embarrassing. And I'm so like self-conscious, it's bigger. Like I might be fixating on one particular issue, but it's not just that. I'm not just worrying about the chem tests. It's like I'm worrying in general. I direct it towards schoolwork, so then I have like a list of things that I need to do, and if I sit down and I cross everything off of that list, then maybe everything will be okay. I do skin picking and I do hair pulling too, not like on my head, but like on my arms and my legs. I have to sit on the outskirts so I can see out. It's just a lot more like safer.